Were you raised in a religious household?
No, not exactly. I was born Catholic. Then my mother remarried when I was young, 7 years old, and my father adopted me. That's how an Italian kid gets a Dutch name.
Right.
And she then converted, supposedly, to Baptist. Of course, she still talked to the saints, and, you know, whenever something was lost in the house, prayed to St. Anthony, you know. And we always found it after she did that, by the way. But I was very religious at that point. I chose to be baptized and was very, very fervently religious for a year or two.
And then what happened?
Then February 9th, 1964 happened, and the Beatles played Ed Sullivan, and my religion changed to rock and roll. And I mean that. The same things I got from organized religion, you know, I got from rock and roll. And to this day, it's my religion.
Do you remember when you first picked up a guitar?
Yes. Yes, my Italian grandfather showed me the folk song from his town in Calabria. Mm-hmm. This is before the Beatles. So I had a little head start. Interestingly, it was my father's guitar that we found in an attic, and it was my mother's father who taught me the song. So the grandfathers were essential in the process.
Right. Mastering the guitar eventually led to your collaboration with Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Bruce for a minute. As an artist, tell me about Bruce Springsteen.
What attracted me and Bruce to each other, I think, was the fact that we were uniquely dedicated to this new rock and roll thing in an uncompromising way. I'd like to say how dedicated and persistent we were in holding up our ideals and our sort of vision of this wonderful future in rock and roll. But the real truth was we really couldn't do anything else. We were complete misfits and freaks, and we were the last two guys left standing when everybody else took a job. You know, they went to college, they went to the military, they went to their father's job, and then we were left standing because we just couldn't do anything else. We were hopeless. So we strengthened each other, I think, that way. You know, we both just loved it, you know? Loved everything about it, man. We just like ate it, slept it, dreamed it, you know? It was in the air back then. Keep in mind, we were in the middle of a Renaissance period back then that you know, really unprecedented in terms of its depth and the short, you know, it was short-lived, but it was the only time, you know, when the greatest art being made was also the most commercial. You know, it's very, very rare that happens.
In rock and roll?
Well, in rock and roll and other arts as well, you know. It was all very, greatness was popular. You know, there was a place for greatness in those days. It actually had a place in society, unlike today, okay, where it simply does not fit in anywhere. Back then, there was a place for it, you know. The music made us feel so good, you know, that we just felt we could overcome whatever obstacles there was going to be, you know. So he was inspirational to me in that way. He's the only guy I know that never had another job that I know of. I had to take other jobs, you know. I was working on construction on the highway, jackhammer, and, you know, worked in a marina, and I did various things because I had to. But he always found a way to make a living playing rock and roll. So, you know, it was quite unique that way.